Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Azul. Today I will have a talk about how to incorporate constraints into factorization for both package recommendations. So I'm here having a work with Dr. Advent Siddharthan, Professor Judith Astor, and also Ching Wonde. So this is my outline. I will have an introduction about recommender system. I think everyone already know about recommender system, but perhaps didn't know about what is the package recommendations, and also I will give my risk objective in here. And then the next one is I will talk about closed package recommendations, which is in a specific domain for a package. I will describe about how the data set is generated and how the matrix factorization and also the constraints is incorporated to the matrix factorizations. And in the second last part of my talk, I will have a focus group discussion about the closed package recommendation and also the discussion on video work. So as an introduction, perhaps we already know about the recommender system is already applied or applicable in many e-commerce and many systems. For example, like Netflix, Amazon, they give us recommendations, but the recommendation itself is only recommend an individual item, not as a packages. Okay, so they give you a movie. It's not a combination of movie, but you can select this movie or that movie and so on. Today I will talk about the package recommendations. What is package recommendations? When we have several items, perhaps you can combine together both of them. In my case, for example, in here, if we have this top of shirt, we can combine with the skirt or the pants. It's depend on our flavor or in our context itself. Perhaps we would like to go to office, we can combine with this, or we would like to hang out with our friends, we can combine with different things. So in package recommendations, we can combine at least two items, which might be a complementary item or a combination of items, or perhaps more. Okay. So there are some works which already discussed about package recommendation in both domain itself. For example, like Miura and Iwata, they both collect top and bottom images from fashion website or the magazines. But the problem in here is they deals with image features. For example, like the RGB or scale invariant feature transform and things like that. And then how do they recommend is if a user came with the top, they give the query to the system, and then they will give a match with the collection of top and bottom from their database, and then give the other part of the browser or the page. That's what Miura and Iwata works in here. So my work will be a little bit different, which is I will elaborate the recommender system techniques, which is already established. For example, like the collaborative filtering, by elaborating the user interaction metrics. We already know about rating and the things, and also the collaborative filtering. There are several algorithms which might work, but there are also limitations from the collaborative filtering itself. When we talk about packages, I think there is a relation between one item to another item. We don't want to give a user a packages which is not related to one each other. That's what we would like to do in here. And then in the last part of my work in here is we also conduct the focus group discussion, which would like to know why our work is work or didn't work. That's what we would like to bring in. As an input, our recommender system receive the user interaction, which is in terms of rating in here. For example, like user 1, they can give 5 rating to the top one, and also for user 1, they can give rating 3 to the top 5 in there. And our input, we have three different type of matrices. Our first matrices is the individual top rating. As you can see there, I give a red box in there. There are two red boxes. The first is the top one, and also the second is the top, the bottom rating. So I call this one is an individual top rating per category. So we can have multiple category. For example, like when we want to combine with the shoes, so we will have another matrix, rating matrix, which is contain of the shoes or the others. Okay. So together, both combinations, both matrices can be concatenated into one whole matrix, which is, I will call this as all individual ratings. Okay. So we have this input, and then our problem is how to deal with the combinations. As we know that if we want to combine the top and the bottom itself, there will be very large combination or very large options in there. Okay, so and also there will be a little bit difficult to have a full rating coming from the whole combinations. So it's also another challenge from the package recommendations. So what I have done in here is we trying to generate the data sets in terms of our case study in here is plot data sets by randomly selecting around 1,400 tops and 600 bottom coming from the Amazon website. Just randomly select the images and then ask around 200 participants based on their gender preferences. Firstly, I will ask them, do you prefer to wear male or female clothes? And then I will give them different form to fill. And then for the input, we also ask the participant to rate around 30 packages. So the packages itself is selected randomly, containing the top and the bottom and also the combination. So we ask them, how do they like the top, how do they like the bottom, and how do they like as a combination or as a packages. That's what we have done before. So for each user, we ask 30 combinations. As you can see that using this interface, we will have our previous matrices, both for the categorical or the all data. And this is the distribution for my data sets, which is coming from the top and the bottom as individual rating. As you can see that there are balanced rating in there. There are items which is bad rate by the users and also good rate by the users. But as combinations, it's the most interesting thing is only this item which is rate higher or high by the user. For example, like there are only 400 packages which is rate 5 by the users. Okay, so it's make the package recommendation become more a little bit not easy. So to accompany the rating data, we also annotate the all individual items for the top and also for the bottom. We try to add the color pattern and also the formalities based on several categories. For example, like the color, we have around 12 color, and pattern we have around 7. And formality, we use casual, sport and outdoor work, and also the formal one. Perhaps when you trying to deal with the clothes recommendation or clothes package recommendation, you might have a different opinion about this, but this is what I have done before. So this is the clothes formality and also pattern attributes that I'm using in here. I give you some example of my data sets. From A to D, that is the formality one, while from F to K, that is the pattern attributes, which we can annotate to each of our codes. Okay. So using those input, we try to use the matrix factorizations to solve the problem. Okay, I will give you an introduction about matrix factorizations, but I'm pretty sure that most of the audience in here already know about matrix factorization, but at least for the broad or general things in here, matrix factorization can be described as when we have interaction matrix, how to factorize into two or more latent factors. When so coming from the non rating, we can factorize into two latent factors. And the benefit from the matrix factorization in here is when we multiply both matrices, we will have the full matrices as the whole rating predictions. Using the rating prediction and also the original rating, we will elaborate the recommendations in here. So as a story in here, we have two different input, which is per category, and also for the whole concatenation of each category. We will call it as the VT and VB as category and VA as the all. And we also elaborate the two operations, which is the minimum and also the harmonic means of for each top and bottom. So for example, like when we talk about matrix factorization mean using CAT, we will say that my adaptations is using matrix factorization, which the prediction itself coming from the minimum operations of the prediction of top and the bottom, which is the matrix factorization is running for each category. Meanwhile, for the multiplications, it means that matrix factorization is run for the whole matrices, which we use the harmonic means operations in there. So this is our result or the performance. We use 4 cross-code validations from our data sets, and we didn't report these recommendations using the RMSE or the accuracy predictions, but we select using the recall at 10, which we covered from the top 10 recommendations. So what we do in here is for each package with rating 5, we will add around 99 packages with assumptions that the 99 packages is they didn't like the packages. Perhaps they like it, but we have an assumption that this random packages is not liked by the user as a packages. And then our system trying to pick up 10 best rating prediction of combinations, and then we try to average for the hit or didn't hit. So when the real rating is 5, it's in the top 10, so we will call it as a hit, and then we will make an average, and we found that the average recall at 10 is around 0.12 for the MF market. So for the next experiment, since the MF mal using the category is the highest one, we will continue with this one. So this is the main part of my adaptations. We try to incorporate constraints into matrix factorization. So how do we incorporate these things? First, we have two types of incorporations. First is the manual one, and then the second one is the automatic one. So for the manual one, we try to collect the appropriateness clues. For example, like when I'm wearing the like what I'm having in here, I have a black bottom and also the green one. I collect from fashion websites. There are several rules from these websites in general rules. One rule mentioned that black color can go well with everything. Okay, so with those statements, I can have a rule that if I am combining the black and the red, so it will be appropriate. If I'm combining the black with the green one like this, it's also appropriate. And also the other constraints I'm trying to collect related to the color, the formality, and also the patterns. That's what I'm done here. And then modeling the constraint into the appropriate matrices, and then incorporate the appropriateness rules with the function from the matrix factorization coming from the previous experiment. We add the prediction with the appropriateness matrix multiplied by the weights. We can use the single constraint on also multiple constraints. For example, like as you can see in here, perhaps I'm using the casual one with something, I don't know, perhaps it's a little bit formal, or we can say that's casual. So we can combine the formality and also the color as multiple constraint, or we can combine multiple constraint more than two. So that's what I'm done here. And then the other one is the automatic one. From the automatic one, I'm using the decision tree coming from, I'm using beta library, using J48 algorithm to predict the appropriateness from each attribute for the top and also for the bottom. I'm using the weights in there, the prediction. I'm multiplying with the function which is coming from matrix factorization. This is my adaptation here. So this is the example of appropriateness matrix for color. If you read my paper, there are also appropriateness matrix for formality and also for the pattern itself. I will give you another example. There are also a rule where keep red and pink separate. Okay, so we didn't put one in there for the red and pink since there is a rule that mentioned. So the pink and red is not appropriate. So we didn't say that those color is appropriate. So that's our rule. And then again, we trying to analyze the results using the recall at 10. And as you can see here, when we put an appropriateness rule, or if we incorporate the rules into matrix factorizations, the recall at 10 is getting higher. And also, it's very interesting that the combination of color and pattern is getting higher, and also for the all attributes is the best result for our performance. The highest performance means the highest number in there means the better one. So in here we can see that the combinations of all attributes is better or the best compared to the everyone. Meanwhile, for the automatic one, even though it's slightly a little bit lower than the manual one, but I think when we deal with a different domain or with a different attribute, I think the automatic one is also something that we need to look at. So as you can see that my previous recall at 10, I think it's still not really good. That's why we continue our study using the focus group discussions to gain a better understanding how to combine the top and also the bottom. We create around, we recruit around 30 participants and group them into several group, 8 groups coming from 3 or 5 partitions in there with two different scenarios. This is my first scenario. So in my first scenario, I give them the real rating from Carol, anonymous user Carol. They hate those kind of top, those kind of bottom, and they love those kind of top and bottom separately. And I asked them, to the users, to the participants, whether the Carol will like or dislike the combination 1, combination 2, and combination 3. I didn't focus on like or dislike, but what makes them will like or dislike. That's what I'm not in there. And then the second scenario is I give them around 15 combinations and ask them to select which one is the best combination for Carol, from 1 to 3. Okay? And again, I didn't focus on the combination itself, but what makes those combinations is the best for Carol. And I got these results, which our FGD results. It's really interesting that our participants agree to the formality. They also agree to the color. They also agree to the motif harmony. And also they give another input, which is perhaps we need to consider the brightness, consider the length of the dress. That's really interesting that our work is aligned with the focus group discussions. And our minimum algorithm and the harmonic means it's expressed to use the height rating. It's mentioned for the all focus group. We have around 8 focus groups, so it's really interesting that we have something similar to them. Additional information from the focus group is when we talk about package recommendations, they also mentioned that there are individual preferences for the clothes, whether it is coming from the bottom or it's coming from the top. For example, like if I like bright color, so I didn't pick the black or the dark green like this. But since I love something a little bit dark, so I'm choosing this. So that's what we have in here. So there are several aspects in there: color, brightness, cutting shapes, body exposure, and something else. This is what we have from our focus group discussion. As closing in here, we have discussed about the approach how to incorporate constraint on the item attributes into matrix factorizations through the manual operation or the automatic acquisitions, and also we have conducted focus group discussions in there. We have a combination aspect and also the individual aspect, and it is interesting that our focus group validated our algorithm, which it is important to consider clothes, color, formalities, and pattern. And perhaps if we want to continue our work, we can also have a work on how to handle the type of constraint, the other type of constraints. There are other types which is I haven't handled yet. For example, like the line and the other things. And also we can include the budget and the things. So the other further works is also we can try to create a package recommendations which contain larger items. For example, like including the accessories and shoes and things, and also different domains. Okay, I think that's all my talk today. Thank you very much.
We'll take just one question. Questions? Question is the colors. Kind of bothers me really that you say pink and red don't fit. And they do actually, they do very well, like a light pink and a bright red fit perfectly together. So what is your level of granularity of the colors? Like, you never see clothes in these colors. So,
Yeah.
you know, how do you judge it at all by color?
Okay. It's as I mentioned before, perhaps we have a different opinion about the color and also the pattern and also the other things. But what we do in here is, especially for the manual one, I'm trying to collect from the fashion website. So they have general rules for these things. Okay, so I'm not dealing with my expertise area, but I'm trying to collect from those websites. And they mentioned about two things. There are monotonic colors, which means color in similar tone, similar color but different tone. It's appropriate. But there are also different rules which mention red, keep red and pink separate. I didn't know why they use that. So with those two statements, I'm separating the red and pink in here. For the questions why I choose the colors with these 12 colors, I'm trying to having the general group of colors coming by. I'm starting from the color wheels. There are basic colors and also the secondary colors. So that's what I'm taking in here, and also the black and white is coming from different.
Okay, and have you considered other features? Like for example, when you're selecting clothes, you won't pair flip-flops with the fur coat, right? Or well, if some very crazy fashion shows, you may see that as well. Right? But normally, if somebody is buying clothes, they will be practical. They will buy clothes for the season. So whether the material is suitable, like is it a thick woolen material and a light cotton thing, you know, there are many other factors which play a role, and the price as well.
Yes.
The price is a factor.
That's true. We found that our focus group discussion also mentioned about this, about the fabric itself. For example, like some people tend to use something soft or something hard as their trousers or their top, and also about the leg and seasonal agreement. I think, yeah, they mentioned about this. Yeah, that's something we already
considered. Okay,
picture
great.
about this.
Thank you very much.